Get ready for the 10 deadliest wars in human history. If you're ready for some major history lessons, be sure to smash that like button right now. Top 10 deadliest wars in history. Let's get into it. 1. World War II, 1939 to 1945. The Vibe. This was the biggest, deadliest, most chaotic thing humanity has ever done. It was the entire world against itself, fighting over ideology and territory. The combatants, the Allied powers, think the US, UK, Soviet Union, China, squared off against the Axis powers, Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan, Fascist Italy. The chaos. A jaw-dropping 70 to 85 million deaths. It involved the Holocaust, the first use of atomic bombs, and industrialized warfare that wiped out whole cities. Seriously, if you find this history fascinating, hit that subscribe button. Quick take. It redefined war and sadly set the record for total death count. 2. Mongol conquests, circa 1206 to 1368. The Vibe. Imagine an unstoppable storm of horsemen rolling over continents. These guys didn't just conquer, they changed entire regions by spreading terror. The combatants, the Mongol Empire, led by guys like Genghis Khan, versus every established power from Russia to China. The chaos. Estimated around 40 to 60 plus million deaths. Their military strategy relied on crushing resistance completely, often resulting in massacres that depopulated vast areas. Quick take. Pure, rapid, devastating expansion, powered by incredible military discipline. 3. The Taiping Rebellion, 1850 to 1864. The Vibe. An insane religious civil war in China, where the leader genuinely believed he was the younger brother of Jesus. It was a massive peasant revolt gone totally wrong. The combatants, the ruling Qing dynasty versus the rebel Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. The chaos. Roughly 20 to 30 million deaths. Yep, a single civil war deadlier than World War I, largely due to fighting, famine, and disease, overwhelming a gigantic population. Quick take. A spiritual frenzy that turned into a bloodbath, showing the fragility of the world's most populous empire. 4. And Lushan Rebellion, 755 to 763. The Vibe, an ancient rebellion that was so incredibly deadly, it almost wiped out the powerful Tang dynasty. We're talking catastrophic population loss. The combatants, the powerful Tang dynasty versus the rebel Yan dynasty, led by the general An Lushan. The chaos. Estimates are tough, but likely 13 to 36 million deaths. This was mostly due to the systemic collapse that followed the fighting, leading to mass starvation and illness. Quick take. By percentage of the global population at the time, this was arguably one of the worst human disasters ever. 5. Transition from Ming to Qing, Manchu conquest of China, 1618 to 1683. The Vibe. A brutal, decades-long takeover where a group from the north, the Manchu, fought to replace the established Ming rulers. It was a total regime reset. The combatants, the Manchu people, who became the Qing dynasty, versus the remnants of the Ming dynasty and loyalist forces. The chaos. Estimated around 25 million deaths. This was a prolonged period of resistance, sieges, and massacres, as the Manchu struggled to impose their authority across the whole country. Quick take. A 70-year-long struggle for control over the most populated country on Earth. 6. World War I, 1914 to 1918. The Vibe. The war to end all wars. Old strategy met new tech, trenches, machine guns, gas, resulting in a pointless, miserable stalemate that chewed up an entire generation of young men. The combatants, the Allied powers, France, UK, Russia, etc., versus the Central powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, etc. The chaos. Around 15 to 22 million deaths. It was the first true industrialized slaughter, proving that defense was far easier than offense. Quick take. A senseless, devastating war that set the stage for all the political horror that followed. 7. Conquest of Timur, Tamerlane, 1369 to 1405. The Vibe. Timur was a warlord who followed in the footsteps of Genghis Khan, leaving utter destruction in his wake, conquering massive swaths of Central Asia and the Middle East. The combatants, the Timurid Empire, versus everything from the Delhi Sultanate to the Ottoman Empire. The chaos. Estimated between 7 to 17 million deaths. Timur was famous for his brutal efficiency, using massacres and giant pyramids of skulls to strike terror into future opponents. Quick take: a highly concentrated period of conquest that brutally wiped out entire regional powers. 8. The Three Kingdoms War, 220 to 280 AD. The vibe: the chaotic, famous era in Chinese history, where the empire shattered into three rival states fighting for ultimate power. It's legendary for its strategy. The combatants: the three major states, Kaowei, Shuhan, and Eastern Wu. The chaos: records indicate a massive population collapse, suggesting 34 to 40 million deaths over the long struggle, mostly due to the social collapse and famine. Quick take: a high drama, high death toll period that inspired centuries of literature and art. 9. Russian Civil War, 1917 to 1922. The vibe: the bloody mess after the Russian Revolution. It was the communists, Reds, fighting the anti-communists, Whites, plus internal ethnic groups and foreign armies. Pure chaos: the combatants, the Bolshevik Red Army, versus the various white movement factions. The chaos: estimated 7 to 12 million deaths. The fighting itself was bad, but starvation, disease, like typhus, and the sheer breakdown of society caused most of the civilian losses. Quick take: a brutal internal conflict that birthed the Soviet Union and cost millions of civilian lives. 10. The Dungan Revolt, 1862 to 1877. The vibe: a brutal ethnic and religious conflict in western China, where the Hui, Chinese Muslims, rose up against the Qing dynasty. The combatants: the Qing dynasty versus the Hui rebels. The chaos: around 8 to 12 million deaths. The long siege, massacres, and Qing reprisals led to mass starvation and migration, killing huge numbers of people across the region. Quick take: a tragic, desperate war rooted in religious and ethnic tension that resulted in colossal human loss. Whew! That was a deep dive into the darkest corners of human history. If these epic, brutal stories keep you coming back, please remember to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss our next historical breakdown. Which one of these conflicts surprised you the most?